guest. His name is Tony Mosley. He's a certified mindfulness instructor, and he's going to lead you guys on a little lesson on mindfulness. I know it's very stressful in your position. It's hard to get enough sleep, and you have to worry about a lot of things happening. And stress reduction is a big topic that has come up in the past during these monthly meetings. And I wanted to bring Tony in to talk a little bit about mindfulness meditation and how it can help.
All right, Mr. Mosley, how are we doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Awesome.
So where are we today and what are we doing?
Well, we're here at the downtown library here in Tucson, Arizona, the main library downtown, and I've been invited to speak as part of a monthly series that they do to support the homeless community. And my role today is to bring conversation regarding mindfulness.
Okay.
And really looking forward to being here today.
Yeah, awesome. So you talked about mindfulness. What is mindfulness?
Wow, that's a loaded question, but to make it simple, mindfulness is a scientific term for meditation. Meditation has been around for years and years, at least 2,500 years as far as I know. And the reason why it's been around and continues to be around, because I believe that it does work.
Okay.
So I've been able to utilize it in my own personal life, and I find it as a tool to help me to get through this thing called life.
And when you say it's a tool, how does the tool work? How does it help us?
And just like any other tool, you got to use it first
Yeah.
of all. So a lot of people don't understand that with any tool, just like we try to build a house without a hammer, good luck. So with me, it works in a way that as we get into the technique, you just basically take a moment, you sit back, find a place that's comfortable for you with no technology around, that you're able to sit and just focus on the breathing, and as you breathe, you relax, and each breath, you just let the stress of the day go. And you do kind of a count. You have to do, positioning is really important, so what I do is teach that you sit in a position with your back arched, you sit in a simple chair, and like I said, a quiet room with no technology. And you just focus on your breath, and you just notice the air going in and going out, going in and going out. And I'll walk you through a count to show you how that process works. And it's simple, but it's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. And how did you come across mindfulness? Where did it all start for you?
I've been doing this almost 20 years. I was thinking about it last night, and I've been doing it probably close to 21 years. I was living in Hollywood, and I used to listen to a guy on the radio late at night, and he would talk about meditation and how he used it as a tool. And I found it to be very interesting because it was very simple, because you don't need to be doing anything or be anywhere but just learning to be. And mindfulness is like being in the present moment, not worried about tomorrow, not worried about what happened yesterday, but being present. And so I became very fascinated, so I started reading about it, looking into the different teachings, and the teachings varies from country to country. Just about every country in the world has some type of mental cultivation. And what that means is an opportunity for you to look into yourself and really see who you are and how you can contribute to this thing called life. So it's been a while, and it changes, and I love it because this thing is such a great tool. I work as a school counselor, and I use it with kids. I've worked all the way from third graders up to 86-year-old people, and I tell you, everyone seems to get something out of it because what you put in comes out of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And now up on the screen behind you, Mr. Mosley, is this title called Breath of Life. Talk to us a little bit about Breath of Life and what that is.
Oh man, it's Breath of Life. How do I explain it? I came across it because I started reading as we talk about this. People hear meditation, they start thinking spiritual. So mindfulness can be spiritual, but not necessarily spiritual. We'll get more into detail about that. But what it is think of it as if you have especially this time of year with the holiday season, you have a toy like a teddy bear or something that can move and things like that. Well, it doesn't move until you actually put a battery into it in order to give it life, right? So breath of life is like when breath was breathed into man, all of a sudden man became animated. So the breath is like the source of energy that allows us to connect not only with each other, but to ourselves, and the energy that Einstein called E. In his theory of relativity, he said E equals mc squared. Well, people understand that theory, but they don't understand what is E. Well, Einstein said that E is energy, and that energy is all around us. And if we just tap into that energy, we can create a source of connectedness that actually offers us whatever it is we're looking for. So I found it to be very powerful as a tool. So I said, so life is about breathing and it's about the breath. And so it kind of came to me, breath of life. So it sounds kind of corny, but that's how it came about.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited for today, and we'll get a little footage of what's going on and get to share that with the world.
Well, I'm very excited about it because I think it's an opportunity. This is a different audience for me. I never really worked with the homeless community. And I know there's a sense of hopelessness when it comes to the homeless. So I'm really excited to see on the other end of this what it's going to look like for them, if they're going to be able to say, yes, I found hope. I believe that hope is the anchor of the soul. And so we can get them to get in contact with that against of who they are. And their circumstances are not who they are. And this is my conversation today, to really dive in and say, you're more than just your circumstances. And this too shall pass. And so we'll see what happens. We'll see what on the other end of this.
All right, everybody. My friend Tony Mosley is here, and he's going to lead you guys on a little lesson on mindfulness meditation and how it can help with stress reduction. Take it away, Tony.
Thank you, Matt. I'm not going to use a microphone, ladies and gentlemen. I got a big booming voice, I've been told by my students over and over. As Matt said, my name is Tony Mosley. I am a native of Tucson, Arizona, and this is my gift to you this holiday season. I wanted to give an opportunity to be here. Matt and I got connected about 2 months ago, and I really want to share my gift of mindfulness with you. Has anybody ever had any experience with mindfulness? Yes, sir. Tell me a little bit about your experience.
Well, I'm a peer support specialist for mental health, but when I was negatively thrown into the streets, I used mindfulness to change what would be depression and determination every single day through grounding, through not meditation, but through mindfulness.
Yeah.
Getting in the moment, realizing what was is, and that's not going to change, but how do I move forward? Mindfulness has changed my life.
It will change your life.
I spoke at the Teenage Suicide Prevention about it. I spoke about getting it to our libraries and our school systems here. We're doing it in Moran. Idaho's doing it in school systems. Suspensions, detentions are going away. It works.
Well, it's funny you say that because I actually work for TUSD.
Oh, do you?
And this is actually our vice principal was recording me today.
Wow.
And so we understand. We have a teacher back here at the back, a good friend of mine, Courtney Yarn. Say hi, Courtney.
Hi.
And we really believe in mindfulness, and this is why I wanted to share this as a gift for you guys for the holiday season. So we're going to talk a little bit in detail what it's about, and then we actually do the exercise. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right off front, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's a simple technique. All you do is focus on your breathing, but it's not easy. So we're going to talk about that as we go through that. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free. So bringing mindfulness to you. What mindfulness isn't. We're going to talk about what it's not right off the top. You won't have to shave your head and move to a monastery. People have this illusion that I'm going to have to go do all this and then all of a sudden have to be a monk in the middle of nowhere. You will not be contemplating your neighbor or chanting these secret syllables. Good luck with that. You won't have to give away all your possessions and belongings. Whatever you have, you can hold on to it. You will not be required to go into a trance. That's the big illusion. People think they got to go, oh no. No, it doesn't work like that. The other thing, in mindfulness is not running from reality. Matter of fact, mindfulness is really tapping into reality and being okay with where you are. And it isn't just for monks. People have a tendency to think, well, I can't do this because I'm not a monk. Well, you are who you are, and I guarantee you'll be able to do it as well. It is not necessarily spiritual. It can be spiritual, but it's not always about spirituality with this. See this little diagram I have here? Tell me, who do you think is more mindful of the two of these right now?
Kid.
Why is that?
They live in the present.
Thank you, ma'am. What's your name?
Chilling.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's very insightful. That little girl there, if you look at her thoughts, she's got the sun, she's got the flowers that she's aware of that's there. Where her father, I'm assuming it's the male that's walking with her, he is thinking about work, he's got all this stuff on his mind, so he's not present with her. Mindfulness is about being present. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is a mystery, the past is history, the present is a gift. That's why we call it the present. It's learning to be here and now. Now, I know most of you have the circumstances that brought you here, but here is the bottom line. You have no problem right now. Right now, in this moment, there's not a problem. You're sitting here listening to me, that's not a problem. This is a warm place, you got some food to eat, we're having a conversation and we're talking about mindfulness, right now you don't have a problem. It is only when we start to think about what we have had or what we think we need is when we start to create problems for ourselves. Does that make sense? So right now, you don't have a problem. It's an illusion. But if you stay present and be available, we'll see, we'll get more into detail of what that's about. Mindfulness is a scientific term for meditation. Meditation is simply listening and learning how to listen. Listening to your environment, and most of all, listening to the inner environment within yourself. And learning how to trust yourself and believe in yourself. A lot of times we lose hope because we have basically tried some things that haven't worked out for us, and so we begin to lose faith in who we are. This program is designed, Breath of Life is designed to give you faith, hope, and love. Now, I'm not here to talk religion. I'm talking about faith in yourself and believing in who you are. Each of you have a gift. Shakespeare said, the meaning of life is to discover your gift, and the purpose of your life is to give it away. What is your gift? What do you think your gift may be? That's rhetorical. You don't have to answer it right now. But it's something I really need you to think about. Mindfulness is a word, it literally means middle. We're going to get a little bit more detail into that in a couple of slides. Think of meditation as an exercise of mental cultivation. It's about going inside, learning to listen to yourself, learning to trust yourself. Just about every culture on earth has produced some sort of mental practice that can be termed meditation. Let's talk about, people get a little bit confused when we talk about, what is the mind? When we talk about the mind itself, most people hear brain. They think, oh, my mind is my brain. We're going to clear that up for you. Your brain is part of the visible, tangible world of the body. Your mind is part of the visible, transcendent world of thought, feeling, attitude, belief, and imagination. The brain is the physical organ most associated with the mind and consciousness, but the mind is not confined to the brain. Now, let's be very clear here. We can go over to the hospital right now. There are people literally brain dead, right? But they're still here. So you can be literally brain dead, but you cannot be heart dead. So what does that tell you? That your heart consciousness is the most important thing there is. We have people that have mental things going on with them. It doesn't mean that they're not alive, they're not available. They just have some chemical imbalances in their brain. But within the heart, this lives a level of consciousness much deeper than the brain. Ladies and gentlemen, the longest journey you will ever take in your life is from here to here. I'll say it again. The longest journey you will ever take in your life is from here to here. Because your heart knows things that your brain will never be able to figure out. And yet most of us think that intelligence is the most important thing. And once again, that's an illusion. And if you don't think it's true, think about it this way. Science tells us that we have the three I's. We have instinct, right? If I say all of a sudden we're going to get out of here, we got to run, you'll be like, what are we running from? Right? Because that's instinct. It's called animal instinct. But we know about intelligence. We go to school to develop our intelligence. What we're losing in our society right now is one thing. That's the third I, and that is the intuitiveness. Learning to trust who we are. I work with a lot of 7th and 8th graders who have a tendency to believe that when a kid calls them a knucklehead, or a kid calls them a bitch, or they call them an HOE, the kid come to me, well, Mr. Mosley, she called me this, he called me that. And I ask them one simple question, are you? Are you the bitch?
That's a good question.
Yeah, but they're coming back, well, no, I'm not. And I said, then why are you worried about it? Why are you concerned about what they say about you if it's not true? People can call you the N-word, people can call you whatever they want. But if it's not true, you don't have to take it, you don't have to accept it. And this is why my conversation is, by learning to know who you are, people can call you whatever they want. Go ahead, sir.
The new study, I work with a doctor, and he's got several PhDs in MD, but the new study, this is considered the biome. There's more than 1,000 times more neuroreceptors here than there is in your brain. But like your brain is plastic, you've got to train your brain. You have to train your biome emotionally. And our youth nowadays, we're not getting that emotional support. They're not developing this correctly.
Right.
And that's one of the problems with society. That's to put it more on a scientific level. But we have more neuroreceptors here as we evolve than we do our brain. Thousands more.
You're absolutely right. One of the things I just read across is that the the mind is now becoming like the second brain, if you will. If that makes sense. Think about this. Have you ever met someone and you knew they weren't right for you, but yet you tried to make sense of it from here? And you stuck in the relationship when you know it wasn't healthy for you, but you stayed there and your gut kept saying, get out, exit stay left, get out of here. But your brain is saying, well, no, she's cute, I really like her. She's got all these wonderful things, right? Your head is saying this, but your heart is saying go. But we don't trust our hearts because we think that we got it figured out. So this is what we talk about, the difference between intelligence and consciousness. Intelligence is here, consciousness is at a deeper level. Yes, sir.
One thing we really need is to give something away. Love. You gotta give love.
You're absolutely right. And one of the things I share with my kids, here's the simple truth. In life, you're either motivated from love or you're motivated from fear. I say that again. In life, you're either motivated from love or you're motivated from fear. When kids are absent, chronic absences, I say to them, what makes you get out of bed in the morning and be here on time? Or if you're not on time, you're not loving yourself. Because you recognize that your education is probably the most important thing you're ever going to do for yourself. But if you don't love yourself enough to get up, take care of yourself, and get yourself ready to go to school and be on time, then you're motivated from fear. Fear says, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. Fear, F-E-A-R, false expectations appearing real. Once again, we get an illusion. I'm going to give you an example. I'm working with a young man who's about to graduate in May. And I was working with him last night, and he's so stressed out that he's not going to graduate. And I say, you're worried about May right now, right? Yes, sir. I'm not going to make it, Mr. Mosley. I said, tell me what you're having for breakfast tomorrow. He says, I don't know. I said, but you can tell me what's happening 6 months from now? And he had a breakthrough moment because he recognized, you can't even tell me what you're having for breakfast, but yet still you're going to tell me, 6 months from now I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to graduate, my parents are going to be upset with me. And I point out to him, here's the difference between destiny and fate. There's a big difference. Destiny says that if I stay at school and I work hard, I am destined to become a high school graduate. However, you might graduate from high school and that Friday night go to a graduation party, get into a car accident, lose both your legs. That's called fate. You had nothing to do with it. That's called fate. So we have control of our destiny. I want you to connect with again that you have control of your destiny. Someone over here said, I want to be able to get a job. Was that you, sir? What's your name?
Yes, Kevin.
Kevin. It will happen to you because you have to have the intent and the will in order to manifest what it is you want. I want you to start to do a little homework. Start writing down exactly what it is you want to do. Not right now, not this moment. Write down exactly what you want for your life. I just moved into a house a year ago. I wrote down everything I wanted for that house in July. I moved in January. I got everything on that list that I wanted. Hardwood floors, a gas range oven, a fireplace, a wood-burning fireplace, a big yard for my dog. All these things. You write it down, the universe says okay, because the universe does not judge, it just says okay. But it's up to you to really go after what it is you want. Let's keep going.
They ain't gonna drop in your lap and sit around.
Yes, ma'am.
That don't work that way in real life.
You gotta show effort. You're absolutely right.
And most of them do that.
And you may not get the job you want right away, but it's a means to an end. It's a step in the right
And you
direction.
never know where the job is gonna lead to.
Right.
And I tell people right now, if you are in a predicament where you don't have a job, the best thing you can do is volunteer, be around people, because you never know who's gonna say, hey, that guy's a great worker, or that lady, she does great stuff. I need to recommend her or him to this person who I know actually has an opening. So simply showing up and being available to people will give you an opportunity to make things happen.
A lot of life is luck, and I tell you what, getting the job you want is luck. And if you're not prepared for luck, luck favors the prepared. Ask anybody successful, they will tell you that luck favors the prepared. When you go to these agencies and you walk out and say they didn't get me out, you're in the wrong mindset. Because they are preparing you for luck or miracles, whatever you believe in. They're giving you something. When you get a job you don't want, but you're working with people, you're preparing yourself for that luck when it happens. Because it don't matter what you get, like, if you ain't prepared for it, you're gonna lose it. If you get an apartment,
That's
you're not
right.
ready to live with people and neighbors, you're gonna lose it.
Well, you know, there's
Your
a
time,
saying,
you're gonna get more depressed.
there's a saying that you're saying is opportunity meets preparation is what we call love.
Right.
When you're prepared. But here's the other side of it.
People in churches.
Here's another side of it. I got your question. Hold on one second. Luck is labor under correct knowledge. I say it again. L-U-C-K. Labor under correct knowledge. You still got to do the work. But if you're doing the work with an understanding that you have an ultimate goal, labor under correct knowledge. And then people say, oh, you're lucky, it happened to you, you're lucky. They didn't see you working your fanny off 3 or 4 months ago to even get to where you are right now. I've been very fortunate.
And hold on to it.
I've been very fortunate. I was a ball player, 2-time state champion here in Arizona. I'm a legend. My teammate went on to the NBA, played in the NBA for 13 years. A guy named Fat Lever used to hold a guy named Michael Jordan. Probably heard of those guys. But then I went to travel the world as a DJ. I was an entertainer, been all over the world, literally. Been on islands by myself. I've landed helicopters in Alaska. And I worked in Hollywood for about 13 years. Knew a lot of world famous people. I don't tell you this to impress you, but to impress upon you. My mother was on welfare and food stamps. My mother's Native American, my father's African American. And I can tell you some of the racist stuff that I had to deal with traveling the world. But I learned. And one thing I learned is that we all have something to offer. You just have to discover what that is. We get in more detail. So what do you notice about this particular diagram I have on this picture I have on the wall? What do you notice about it? Anybody? Yes, sir.
It looks like it symbolizes what your heart wants, but the logic is your brain is telling you otherwise.
That's
Saying
very-
that the safest path is to not do anything, but yet if you don't do anything, you're gonna have regret that you could have did something but you didn't.
Right. That's very insightful, sir. Anybody else? What else do you see here?
Well, the heart is bleeding.
I'm sorry, say again. The struggle. Yeah, the brain is trying to walk a little bit, but you can see it's behind. You can see the tension in the arms and brain. Like, hey, are you sure? Are you sure? Right? Yes. So the heart knows places to go that the brain sometimes is going to hold back. Be okay with that. Recognize that, and start to trust your heart a little bit more. I'm going to move through this as quickly as possible because I know we got some time. So neuropsychologists reference this as a network of biochemical beta waves. This is called the default mode network. Anybody ever fall asleep and can't fall asleep? All the time. That's called the default mode network. Meditation gives the mind something to focus on so the DMA, which is default mode network, is minimized. We all have that. You're meditating. If you've ever been driving in a car and all of a sudden you miss your turn off, you go, whoa, I missed my turn off. That's meditation. If you've ever been sitting in the car, on the TV, watching a football game or watching something on television that you enjoy, that's meditation. You need 3 things to meditate and have mindfulness. A place to relax, something to focus on, and a mantra. Why do you think they spent $3 million on a commercial for Super Bowl ads? Because they know that they got you in that subconscious place, and that all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're watching this, and all of a sudden a commercial for Tide comes on, and you're sitting there watching the commercial. The next thing you do, you go to the store, I need laundry detergent, I better get me some Tide. I gotta get me some Tide. Right? Because your mind has been already, that seed has already been planted to say you need Tide. And you go, I need Tide. I guess I need Tide. So you go and you play the role that they want you to play. That's why they spending $3 million on a commercial, because they know once they tap into your subconscious, they can get you to do whatever they want you to do. They being the major corporations, we'll get more to that in a little bit. Meditation means the middle, which allows us to put ourselves between the experience and robotic action. If you're dating someone, and you guys get into a conflictive relationship, you start fighting each other, what is your normal response? You don't have to answer that, but I need you to think about that. Mindfulness allows you to step back, take a breath, and say, wait a minute. I'm not going to react the way I normally react. I'm going to be aware that I'm not going to give away my power because I am going to respond differently than I have been reacting. Does that make sense? Yeah. As you start to listen to your thoughts, start to become aware, more conscious of who you are,
Then you don't just react anymore, you're actually learning how to respond, which is a much more mature way to go. So the mindfulness becomes the middle of that. Here's your normal reaction. Here's the circumstance. Mindfulness puts you right in the middle of that to say, let me step back and recognize I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm better than that. I'm growing up. And I'll be 60 years old on Thursday. And I'm still learning stuff about myself. That's the beauty of life, right? We're constantly still learning about who we are. Ask yourself one simple question. I need an answer from this. And that's from everybody. Ask yourself one simple question. Why are you here? Not why are you here in this room right now. Not why you're here in Tucson, Arizona. What is your purpose? Why are you here? Why are you born? Now let me clear this up. I was doing a workshop about 3 weeks ago. One was 86 years old. You know what she said? She raised her hand. She said, I'm here to pay taxes. 86 years old. And her mindset is, I'm here to pay taxes.
That's funny.
That is funny. I thought it was funny. Everybody laughed and cracked up.
Exactly.
But could you imagine being 86 years old and recognizing that you have no purpose but to pay taxes? I would like to have gotten her years ago, but you still have this thing called life to experience. Why are you here? Anybody? I'm sorry? Purpose-driven life.
To grow.
To grow.
I'm here to grow older and to get wiser, to give people advice.
How do you know you didn't have it?
Because I do. I've been out there doing it.
Good for you, sweetie. Good for you. Anybody have this, man? You had your hand up? Experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, just because we're running out of time, I want to offer you something. There's no right or wrong answer to that question. When I came up with that question about 35,000 feet, and I was flying in first class by myself, and I know it's going to sound cuckoo, but I'm a little cuckoo. I heard this voice say to me, why are you here? And I looked around, I was in first class by myself. And I said, how did a little ghetto kid from South Tucson get to be in first class by himself? And I asked myself, why are you here? And the voice said to me, we're all here for one reason. You want to know what that is? To help each other. If you don't think that's true, think about the first thing you do when you have a birthday party. What's the very first thing you do? Anybody?
Invite people.
You invite people. Right. Well, what good is a party? You got a big old cake there. You got all these presents. You got your little hat on. You got the little thing.
Nobody shows up.
And no one's there.
It makes sense.
It doesn't make sense.
We wouldn't be here without other people. And right now we're standing on the footprints of 3,500-year-old Native American civilization. The most diverse civilization on the North American continent exists right here. And I will tell you, because they were the most diverse, they had the most diverse languages. They did not speak the same language. They had to help each other in order to survive.
That's right.
Here where we are, these farmers in the past, they didn't speak the same language.
That's right.
There were thousands of dialects that came through here, through Utah and Colorado.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that.
Smart people know that.
So this is a process I want you to think about. Your thoughts create feelings, and feeling creates behavior. Behavior reinforces the thoughts. It's like a vicious cycle. What do you think about yourself when you start to get into that state of depression? And I'm going to be very personal right now. I lost my sister to suicide. And I was living in Hollywood. I was working around a bunch of famous people. I had a commercial running at the time. And I never forget it. February 13th, 1998, at 7:21 p.m., I get a phone call that says, your sister just took her life. And I was in LA. And it changed my life because I realized it wasn't about me anymore. It's about how I can help other people. And when she passed away, she had 14 different antidepressants in her system. 14. They tell you if you have 3, you might as well forget it. And yeah, that's a system designed around medication, medication, medication. In my opinion, and I'm going to say this very clearly, meditation is the best medication. Now, with that said, I want to be very clear here. I know that there's some people who have chemical imbalances. I get that. But for the most part, most of our kids coming to us as the schools now, oh, they got ADD, you gotta go ADHD, they got depression, they go on and on with all these labels they're giving kids. And I tell you, you might as well take that label, we'll borrow this, sir, I'll give it right back. Right on here, ADD, stick it on your head and walk around and say, I'm ADD, I'm ADHD, I'm this, I'm that. And you want to recognize that you're better than that. But we give people labels and we want to hold on to those labels, and that's not fair. If someone's saying your predicament is who you are, that's not fair to you. This shall pass. Mindfulness is non-judgmental observation and the ability to mind observe without criticism. With this ability, one sees things without condemnation or judgment. Mindfulness is present moment awareness, takes place in the here and now. One just observes what is exactly there without disturbance. Mindfulness allows us to accept those things we reject, such as fear, anxiety, depression, so that we can examine them fully through mindfulness. We become aware of such unpleasant emotional states without judgment. Mindfulness simply accepts it as another one of life's occurrences, no pride, no shame, no nothing. There is nothing wrong with being afraid. There is nothing wrong with being depressed. That's called being a human being. But there's a difference between pain and suffering. Things may be painful for you, but suffering is a choice. You have to find a way to pull yourself up and get out of the mindset, I'm just going to suffer through this, and be okay with that. You're better than that. There's nothing wrong with anybody in this room except the way you see yourself. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you like what you see? If the answer is no, then we got some work to do. As I work with young people, I can't tell you how many 6th graders and 7th graders, it hurts my heart to see them don't even like looking in the mirror at themselves because there's something wrong with them. I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, my eyes are too wide, I'm too tall, I'm too short. They got all these things that they focus on that makes them who they are, and that's just an illusion. This body is an illusion. It's temporal. You're going to get older. That's okay. Age gracefully and be okay with who you are. Mindfulness watches in, universe within. The field of studies is one one's experience. So we talk about, as we come to the end of this slideshow, I want you to think about being happy. The best way to be happy is to be thankful. What do you have to be thankful for?
To be alive.
Amen, sister.
One thing that changed my life, well, not that life was bad, but one thing that really affected my life the most is that every day I think of 5 things I'm lucky for. That puts me in the moment, that makes me realize that I'm lucky and I'm aware and that I'm here. And over 6 months, my brain turned on, and just doing that and doing mindfulness, it just, if you just sit down and think 5 things before you go to bed what you're lucky for, you'll have a better day tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, if you remember it again, you go, wow, my life's changing. You get in the moment, it puts you in the moment because, I mean, we're lucky to be here. There's, like you said, there's kids, I go to the hospitals, I was a DJ like you for 35 years, man. We change people's emotions, that's why we're good at this.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
Every
sir.
night we affect people's emotions. They'll never get it, but we get it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 7-year-old kids I see, they don't know if they're gonna see their next birthday. They don't know if they're gonna see Christmas. We're the lucky ones. We're the ones that should be grateful and thinking of what are we lucky for. And if you get in the moment and think that every day, your life will change. No matter how bad you think your life is, your life will get better and
It's
better
very-
and better and better.
I really appreciate you sharing it because one of the things I want you to share with me brought to mind. I had a golden retriever. His name was Buddy. Buddy was my best friend. Buddy passed away about 3 years ago, but we used to go to the Children's Hospital every Saturday at 11 o'clock. We visit kids who were dying from cancer and kids with bald head, the whole 9 yards.
They're
And
living.
these kids would see Buddy coming, and I could think of one little girl named Sarah, 7-year-old, and she would say, Buddy, Buddy, Buddy. She gets so excited. Her hair was gone, but she had a little thing she was pulling, and she'd run to the door and she'd see Buddy's, Buddy. And you could just see the joy and the happiness in this kid that this dog would bring to her. And Buddy was a tall golden. He would put his head on the bed, and I would take her hand and I would let her rub Buddy. And the next week was when she was gone. And it reminded me of exactly what you're talking about. She was so happy in her 7 years. And if that dog could give her 5 minutes of happiness, what can you do? If you want to find your purpose, serve others.
you see the living in those children. The ones that are dying, you see the living. When I was thrown into the streets, I was treated for dead. But I saw what all the living, I saw what people were missing in their lives, the habits they were forming, no mindfulness. I saw where we're weak in all of our community stuff. I'm smart. I figured it out. I got tons of stuff written down.
And we
Tons
cannot
of
wait.
stuff for changes.
We cannot wait for our politicians or our quote-unquote leaders to get it. Because I wish I could get in the House of Representatives and have this conversation.
We need votes.
Really?
Three major
You know what I mean?
Awesome.
She'll tell you 3 major players
Oh,
in town
yeah.
want me to run for mayor. But
I've
been
lived
arrested-
it, man.
I've been arrested 30 times because these people don't read.
Yeah. When you got a calling, man, it's higher than being a mayor.
Yeah.
Just hold on to that. So gratitude equals happiness. How about this? Both of these are math problems. I can't even spell math. That's how bad I am at math. But I know this math. Gratitude equals happiness. If you're thankful, you're going to be happy. And love is greater than fear. Where are you motivated from? What gets you up every day to say, I need to do something today? If you can find a way to serve someone else, you're going to find such a joy in your life that no matter what your circumstances is, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be okay. This is my contact. If you have access to a email, you can always reach out to me. I respond to all my emails. It might not be right away, but I generally work when I can. My website, I'm rechanging, is breathoflifeforlife.org. I'm just changing it up last week. So if we can get into bring down some of the lights, I'm actually going to teach you the technique right now. Here's the truth. If you find that as we do this exercise right now, that you're feeling energetic, I would recommend that you do it in the morning. If you find that it's making you a little sleepy, a little lethargic, that's fine too. Your brain is going to work the way that it can. Then you would do it at night. Does that make sense? Okay. Just need a simple chair or any place you can sit by yourself, next to a tree, whatever the case. You take both hands, put them on your knees. You're sitting erect. You don't slouch, not doing this kind of thing. So your back is not hitting the back of the chair. Your hands are here. Your chin is straight on. Not up here, not down here, but straight on. And just close your eyes. And just listen for a second. Just breathe normally through your nose. Just notice the air going in, going out. Going in, going out. Just relax with each breath. Recognize there's no problem right now. I'm going to count to 7. As I count to 7, I'm going to count down from 7. You're going to breathe in, and when I hit 1, you're going to let it out through your mouth. So breathe in through your nose for a 7 count. Once I hit the number 1, you release and let it out through your mouth. Here we go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Let it all out. Here we go one more time. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Last one. Go as deep as you can. Go deep breath. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Let it go. Just let it go. And just breathe normally and just listen. Don't worry about what's going on outside of you. Just listen and just trust yourself. Just let all the stress go, all the anxiety, just let it go. What happens in your mind, the thoughts start to come to your brain. Just let those thoughts go. Focus on your breath. Go back to the breath. Just focus on your breathing. Listen to your heart.
Try to see if you can get 3 breaths without a thought. Challenge yourself a little bit. Breathe in and breathe out for 3 times without a thought. Very slowly, you're gonna open your eyes and be present. Don't say a word to anybody. Very slowly, just open your eyes. Not too fast, slowly. Be present. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my gift to you. If you're willing to receive this gift, I guarantee you, it will change your life for the better. The universe does not judge. The Great Spirit does not judge you. Whatever you want, you can have. If you really want that job or whatever it is, a place, visualize to materialize. Once it becomes real in your heart, it will manifest itself in your world around you. I say again, there's nothing wrong with anybody here. Except one thing, and that's how you see yourself. Notice how melancholy most of you are right now compared to when you walked in? Self-reflective. That's my gift. I wish America could come together like we just did today. If you look around, there's such a diverse group of people here. No one looks like you. That is not by accident. Any questions, any feedback on this process for you? How was it?
Well, I wanted to add earlier, instead of saying, I want a job, that puts it in the future, but if you say, I have a job I like, you own it.
Yes, ma'am.
So a lot of us are saying we want something that we are experiencing on an energetic level. It's not here, but when you say I have a job I like, and you just keep affirming that, that's key.
Thank you, that's very insightful. And there's a difference between wanting and having, right? Anybody else? How was your feedback, man? Hello? How about you, sir?
It's just great to meet you, and I wish that more people would think like you do.
Well, it's not about me, and that's what I'm going to be real clear about. This is a big illusion. I didn't do anything. It's how much you engaged with this process. It's a process. And like I said, I wish I could get our leaderships to recognize this. We're so divided because we use terms like us and them. Until we figure out that we're all in this together, we're going to continue to lose. We got to wake up to this. This is why I choose to work as a middle school counselor, because I feel like I can still connect with those young people to get them to think about the future. When I talked to them, I said, what are you going to do when you find out, like an organization like Apple had people jumping out of the buildings killing themselves because the working conditions were so bad? The kids were like, I didn't know that. Well, that was true. And when they got confronted by the human rights organizations, their conversation was to put up nets so the people would jump and bounce off the nets, but they wouldn't die. As opposed to looking at the working conditions and say, we need to work on that. Or Nike, who uses kids in Indonesia, pays them $1.33 a day to make their products. I tell the kids, what are you going to do when you work for these companies that are doing that kind of stuff? Are you going to step up and say, hey, that's not right, let's try to fix this? Or are you just going to go with the flow because you're making money? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been where you are. I've been on the streets. I've also had a lot of money. And neither one of those circumstances defines Tony Mosley. Those are just things you're going to have to go through.
Here you are, here's the other side. You can't go like this, you can't go like that, you just gotta go through it sometimes. And you gotta know that you have the courage and the strength and the ability to make that happen. No matter who you are, whether you have a job or don't have a job. Anybody else feedback? What about you, ma'am? Lady? I know you're part of setting this whole thing up, but just give me some feedback. How about you were here? What'd you think?
It's great, very great presenter. I'm so glad you came.
What about you, my man?
I'm going through, like a kind of depression, because I just lost a loved one 2 weeks ago. But I got a lot of support, I do the AA, I go to sweat lodge, TP meetings, and,
What's your nation, bro?
don't often.
Okay.
And,
I'm Yaki Pasqua.
all right, nice to meet you. And that breathing technique, I came here because I was lonely and depressed. I just need to go around,
Okay, don't say
all
that. Shh, don't talk. All right. Just be present. It's okay. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. It's okay. I know it's hard.
All that.
Good. Then the best thing you can do, show someone else. Each one, teach one. Show them that. Yeah, it's painful. The problem with death, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's final. You can't go back and say, hey, I wish I would have said this, I wish I could have said this. You don't have that opportunity. But I told you I lost my sister, and I believe that she's still with me because I honor her in my work. So when I talk about her, I don't talk, one of the hardest things I have to deal with people, especially when I talk to some religious people, and I hate to say this, if anybody's Catholic, please don't take this offensively, but it's mostly Catholics, and they'll say to me, your sister's in hell.
Yeah,
Yeah, because she committed suicide. And I say, how could she be in hell when she's in my heart? So when people say ignorant things, I wish closed-minded people would have their mouth followed sometimes.
Well, you say that again. There's a lot
Right.
of out there like that.
So, I'm sorry for your loss, but I can tell you,
Oh, Lord.
the best way to honor the person who you lost is to live an honorable life. Because that's what they would want for you. They don't want you to be caught up with the dead, they want you to be in the midst of the living. And there's a difference between living and surviving. You gotta learn to live again, bro. Whoever it is you lost, they want you to live again. And they want you to be okay. Science just tells us that there's 10 to 11 dimensions. You know how many we're at right now? 2.5, and I say 0.5 because we need glasses to see 3D. Right. We need to be able to have those glasses to watch a movie. You can't, the movie looks all conscrewed if you don't have the glasses. We're only at 3D. They tell us there's 10 to 11 dimensions. Who knows what happens after the life is over? I'm not worried about that, I'm worried about now. How do we live our lives right now? Anybody else before we go? Yes, ma'am.
I want to say something about helping others.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't assume you know what they need. Ask them if you can help. You may think you know what they need, but we need to respect the other. And so when you ask, may I help you, or may I help you with this, then you honor the other. So, and be able to take the no's. They don't want any help. It's like, thank you, and move on.
What does the word respect mean? She used a powerful word. What does the word respect mean? You see, it's interesting in our society, we use words like, I respect you. What does it mean when you say you respect someone? You look like a pretty smart guy.
That means they think of the person real highly.
Okay,
Yeah, you think highly
of the other person. So because we're running out of time, I want to share with you. It comes from Latin, it means to see again. To see again. So in other words, I see you, I walk away, and I come back to look at you again and say, hey, what's really going on with you? Right, to see again from a different perspective. That's literally what respect means. When you're on the streets, most of you know this, someone honors you, them giving you 30 cents or $1 or $2 or $5, it's not gonna change your circumstances. All they say is they respect you because they see you again. So you receive that from them, and you say, God bless you, whatever it is you say to them. All they're saying is that I respect you enough to see you again. I know me giving you a few dollars is not going to change your circumstance. And that's what I talk to the people who aren't in the circumstances like you are, to honor people who are not where they are. And I always tell, and I work with the kids, and Ms. Owens knows this, I say to the kids, never look down on someone unless you're helping them up.
No, that's true, that's true.
That's good.
Never look down on someone unless you're helping them up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your process today. I really appreciate you allowing me to have a few words with you. I gave you my gift for the holiday season. Your gift back to me is that you share this with someone else and let them know that we're all in this together.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.